bacon and eggs. I was trying to be a minimalist this morning, but the Big T Life, he started pulling out the bacon and the eggs, and a bowl of cereal just didn't seem like it was going to do. So we're going to go with some bacon and some eggs.
You're welcome.
And Big T Life over here, he's got some gravy on his mama's homemade bread over there. He's living it up. Okay, so sorry you probably can't see me very well. We got done with breakfast, and you know, we had to check the weather throughout the week. Said it's going to be a good clear day. So we're eating breakfast and starting to clean up from eating and just getting dishes cleaned back up. Start hearing some rumbling, and then this happened. So, as you can tell, it's 9:30 in the morning, and it's pretty dark out, and this is going to be here, it looks like, all day. So we got packed up, got my tent closed up, maybe a minute before the rain set in. So we got started at just about, just the right time. So me and Tony from the Big T Life, we're gonna have a discussion about rooftop tents versus truck camping, or anything, as far as that goes, like just sleeping inside your vehicle, stuff like that. So what I think I'm going to do now is I'm going to go, and while we're driving, me and him are going to have a conversation about that, and we'll have that on video as we're driving. Probably we'll let some of this weather die down before we film that, because it's coming down in sheets right now. So we are trying to get rid of some trash. We can't even get out to put the trash in. It's raining so hard. And as you can see, it's lightning real bad, storming real bad. So we're just gonna call it. We was wanting to spend the whole day up here, but it just makes more sense to head on home. Had a great time last night. It was a very humid. The humidity is up to like 89% this morning, like 9 o'clock. So it's just real sticky. I was happy with the Wave 2. I think it can definitely extend our camping season, but it's got its quirks and things you have to do to make it last. So I think having an insulated tent would be huge, but that's not the case for most rooftop tents. So every time I think it's going to die, the rain's going to die down just a second, so I can get out and throw my trash, it picks back up. So anyway, we're just sitting here. Most of LBL is covered with trees, so at least we're in a good open area. We ain't got to worry about no limbs or anything falling on us. But this is a pretty serious storm coming through. It's a severe thunderstorm warning where we're at. So, a ton of lightning. It'd be awesome if it was dark and you could actually see it, other than just bright flashes. Well, anyway, I've rambled on enough. This is what we're dealing with right now. We've tried to wait it out, hoping some of it was going to flow through, but it's just not looking like it's going to happen. So, it's just every time it clears up, it's just another storm building. So, we're slowly making our way back towards the house. If it clears up, we may hit some trails, but it's not looking too good. I always say life's an adventure, so what this is. Things didn't go to plan, but we're still having fun navigating this storm. And water's just about every one of these low areas, water is rolling over the road. It's rained several inches in the last hour, I would say. But we're having fun driving in the rain. Check out Shop Overland Apparel, your source for Anvil's Adventures merchandise and more. Okay, all right. I was kind of going over kind of what happened. We were kind of hanging around camp, and you were talking about how muggy it was, and we noticed it getting a little darker and a little gray out. And you're like, I think it may storm. So we're like, well, we better get up and kind of start packing together. Then it starts thundering, and the thunder got a lot closer, and then it went from packing at a normal leisurely pace to crap, we got to hurry up and get this done. So we just throw everything in our rigs, and Tony helps me get my tent closed up, and then we head out about right when it starts raining. So we timed it about right, and then we get out about halfway out of the trail, and it starts raining, and it just starts coming down. So we sat back there for what, 45 minutes?
Oh yeah, we probably did. You know, that one thing though, when we came out of the trail and we were going down the highway, I remembered I had my sliding windows on my camper open from the night. And I'm like, you know, I was wanting to keep everything dry, but maybe it was okay. I jumped out real fast, you know, and closed them up. So maybe it was okay.
Did you notice if anything got wet?
I didn't take any time to look. I just shut it, took off.
Yeah, it was raining pretty hard.
It was coming down. Well,
And
I heard the weather warning that said, it was talking about a severe thunderstorm warning, flash flood warning for land between the lakes, and it said in the last hour it had been 3 inches of rain.
yeah, I believe it.
So it was heavy.
We made it back to the ranger station, kind of right when we come in.
The South Welcome Station,
and then waited there for 45 minutes at least just to get our trash dumped out. And we both at the same time, which we weren't talking. You was parked one way, I was parked another. We both jumped out at the same time. We finally got a little break and thought, well, we better do it now. So we jump out and throw our trash. And we decided, do you know what that road was that we took coming out of there?
No.
Over to Piney.
It was something like it was going over toward Piney, but it was something like Forestry Access Road or something. On the Google Maps, that's what it was labeled as, is something weird, not really a road number or highway.
Well, so our plan was to go camp last night. We knew we were leaving. We weren't going to stay the night tonight, but we were going to try to spend a little bit of time up there and kind of just explore a little bit. Well, after we saw the weather changed and all that, so we decided we better just get out of there. So that turned into an adventure in itself. There was a couple of times on that road
that I was glad you were in front of me, because I probably wouldn't have gone through that.
there was one spot, the water was probably a foot over the road, and maybe even a little more. So as we're driving out there, it's just raining like crazy. I didn't see that tree. We run across the tree and it's covering the whole road, and for whatever reason, I guess I was just zoned out because of the rain or whatever. Like, I didn't see it until I hit my brakes, and I was pretty much right there on it. So
right,
Tony pulled up, we rolled down the window, and he's like, "Let's pull it out of the way." So I'm like, "All right, I'm game." So he gives me a raincoat that was about 4 sizes too small, because
it's a little big on me.
He's in a little bit better shape than me. We'll just put it that way. And so I kind of felt like Chris Farley in Black Sheep, fat guy in a little coat. So, but it did keep my shirt dry. But going back to Friday, I left and put on a pair of slip-on Hey Dudes and left my boots at home. So my feet are completely soaked now. That Hey Dudes were not the shoes to be wearing. But anyway, so we hook up the tree, try to pull it one way. That wasn't really working. So we flip around. I was able to get around the tree kind of on there on the edge of the road, which was a little sketchy. I didn't realize there was such a drop off right there where I was at. But anyway, we was able to get that out. There was 4 or 5 cars that were waiting on us at that point. So we got the road cleared so everybody could get through. So that turned out to be.
Yeah, that was fun. The last time we went trail riding, and we came up on some trees, and we talked about, it'd be a good idea to keep a chainsaw out with us. And actually, when I was packing up Friday, I looked at my chainsaw and thought, I ought to put that in there. And I thought, no reason to have that. But it sure would have been good.
Oh, yeah, that would have made that a lot easier.
Yeah.
And it would probably been a lot safer.
Oh, yeah.
That's not the...
definitely.
Sorry, I'm trying to get my battery here so I can start charging my phone. That would have been a whole lot easier and safer if we would have done that. But we were able to do it. I think we'd have probably had better luck if I'd have just got my strap out and pulled it. Got my strap and just not used the winch and just pulled it. So,
yeah.
What we were going to talk about this morning at camp was the pros and cons of truck camping and the pros and cons of like tent camping versus. So, you had a couple of thoughts on the cons, because I didn't really see any when I was thinking about it. I couldn't think of how it was really any kind of a negative side to that, but you had a few things that were
Yeah. The main thing that comes to mind with my particular camper, topper shell, is the height of it. It's just cab height of my truck. So whenever I'm sitting on my bed inside, I have a little riser that I sleep on in there. So when I sit up on there, I kind of have to tuck my head down a little bit because it's hitting the ceiling.
Yeah.
So if I had to do it all over again, I would get one of those shells that, it comes up about 4 to 6 inches, whatever it is, kind of raises up to give a little more headroom in there, and that would make it a lot nicer. That's probably my number
Yeah.
one con about that one.
Yeah, and that was you're what 6'1", 6'2"?
Yeah, I'm about 6'1", and so sitting up in there, it's pretty tight. Now that's the second shell that I've had actually, and I was going to buy one of the taller ones, but it wouldn't fit in my garage at the time where I live, so I couldn't pull in there, and that was the reason I didn't get it. Now I live somewhere where I don't have a garage. My truck parks outside, so it wouldn't matter at all. Right. But the improvement that I made with this one was those side windows that flip out that I didn't have on the first camper that I had. But having those makes it a lot easier, and it's got the sliding windows with the screens on there, so that is an improvement that I made on that one.
How did the Icy Breeze do last night?
So the Icy Breeze, it kept me. I don't know exactly what the temperature was inside there because my thermometer that I had, I think it had gotten so hot it's messed up. It's just stuck on 100. So it was not working. But the Icy Breeze, it kept me very cool. And it ran for, let's see, we got into bed about 11. I turned it on. And it was either 4:15, 4:30, I think 4:15, shut off. And what it was is my power supply drained, and that's why I stopped. But it still had ice and cold water and was still putting out cool air, all night long. If I would just had enough battery to make it run.
Yeah, I know I did not have the same. Which, if I'd have known that, which I should have, if we'd have known that was going to happen, I'd have let you use my bigger battery. But I did not have the same experience last night as you did. So I've spent 3 times as much money as you did, and I was roasting most of the night, mainly because of my own fault. I didn't do. I'm a typical guy. I didn't read the manual, didn't look at any of the ins and outs. I just watched YouTube videos, and about halfway through them, I'd skip and go on. Well, I didn't bring the extra. I did bring the adapter for the return on it to where I could pipe it into my tent. So I set the Wave 2 on the top of my Jeep towards the front, so it was beside my tent, and I just plumbed in the cold side. So I didn't bring the hose and the adapter to be able to plumb it into my tent, the return. And more importantly, I didn't bring the water drain hose, and because I thought, well, it'll just drain out. Well, that's obviously not the case. So, it was so humid last night, it was building up so much moisture, and since it was pulling air out of it wasn't pulling air out of the tent, it was just pulling air from outside. It was so humid, so it kept building up a bunch of water, and every time it built up water, it would start blowing. It basically, I guess it just shuts the compressor down, and it was it was blowing. It was 74, 75 last night, and it was blowing 78, 79 degree air. So I was having to wake up it was about every hour on the hour. I was up, lifting it up, draining the water out of it, and then and it seemed like every time I did that, the time period between when it would fill up just got shorter. So I was up and down, and then when it finally died power wise at about the same time yours did. It was probably, I don't know, it was 4:30, somewhere in that range when it died. But I had, like, because of it, the situation of it dumping the water out, I was getting hot, so I'd kick it on the max and run it, trying to cool back down, and then by the time I'd get settled and kind of slow it back down to the eco mode, and it would, and I'd finally fall asleep, then I'd wake up and it's blowing 70, 80-degree air again. So it was just an up and down all night long. So I'm probably gonna sleep good tonight.
Yeah, I will too. The sound of the icy breeze, it's not too loud in there.
Yeah.
So it's not bad. So that kind of helped you sleep. But what would happen is that ice, you fill the cooler up with ice and a little water in the bottom, and then as it just runs through the night, then the ice is melted down. So it seems like every once in a while that ice would fall in there and it'd make a sound and wake me up. And so finally I actually reached over there one time and I just shook that cooler real good and shake all the ice down in the bottom. And that helped that out a little bit. But other than that,
But
it was pretty nice.
So we're more than, I mean, it's almost 12 o'clock. So would you say we're 24 hours away from the time you put ice in it? When did you put your ice in?
Let me see. I'm trying to think when I got to camp. Yeah, we're getting close to that. Yeah, it was probably about because I told you I was going to be at camp about 2:15.
Yeah.
And so it was about probably 1:15, 1:30 when I put ice in it.
Okay, so we're getting pretty close to, and it's still got ice in it now, right?
Yeah, I dumped it out. It still had a little bit of ice, and the majority of it was water, but really cold. And that's what's circulating anyway is the cold water. So as long as it still has some ice in there keeping it cold, then it's doing its thing.
So if you'd have had power, you could have easily got 8-9 hours out of it easy.
I could have used it all night, no doubt.
Okay. Mm-hmm. That's good to know, especially since it was a fraction of what I spent.
And I will tell you something, a modification that I did to it, and I don't think we've talked about this. So I noticed it, because I originally got the thing for my pontoon boat. So I got it for my wife, to have an air conditioner on the pontoon boat.
Yeah.
But I noticed that the ice melts pretty fast in there, and the lid when you close it doesn't seal very good. Not at all. I mean, that particular cooler just doesn't seal good. And so I got just weather stripping is what I got, and I could probably get something better. But I had some just in a drawer there at home, and I put some weather stripping around there and close it, and it seals it better, and it holds ice better now. So that's a little improvement that you need to do to one.